Okay, there's no chazara of last day's naf. We're starting a new Mishnah. Okay. Anyway, says the Mishnah, we're on Pei Hey Amid Beis, much like the Gemara. Says the Mishnah, Hanoisne Ruvoy Bebeis Shar. You have a guardhouse in front of a chutzner. If you go ahead and you put an Eruv in there, Achsadra that has no walls, it has a ceiling and no walls, Umar Peset or a ledge, like it's like a balcony. Ain't an Eruv. It's not considered a dira, fellas. You have to go ahead. The Eruv Chatzeris works by you putting in an existing dira, and since it's an existing dira, you're all living in that place. This is not a place that's a dira. V'hadar sham ein oislav, and a person did live in there, and he failed to go ahead and contribute to the Eruv Chatzeros, it would not go ahead and aser. Again, so even if he failed to contribute to Eruv Chatzeros, it would not aser. Beis Teven is a house of straw, and Beis Bakar, or Beis Eitzim, Beis Oitzroitz, it's a storage house. How's the Eruv? It's an Eruv. These are all called diras. The Taisus over here, Beis Teven, how's the Eruv? Afilu ain't sham Teven. Even if there's no Teven there, so Hanachas Eruv loy boy elo the Chazi Ledira. The key being, it's called Chazi Ledira. It's Roy to be populated. Since it's Roy to be populated, we'll consider it what? We'll consider it a dira in Eruv Chatzeros. It's interesting halacha. Let's say a balabayas goes ahead and he rents the chutzner, and he leaves over kalim in the house. In other words, he leaves over his lawnmower, he leaves over something in the house, and that person fails to go ahead and be mishtatif in the eruv, the renter. So you have 10 people, 9 of them own their property, one guy rents, the renter forgets to go ahead and be included in the Eruv, but the balabas left something by him. The balabas left by him, he left the kli. So the halacha is that if the balabas, he owns everything, owns the area, then that person who rented, who wasn't mishtatef, would not aser, because he's considered an oireach, he's considered a guest of the balabas. Because since the balabas left a piece of the action over there, he still has bailus over there. So therefore, his rental will not go ahead and be ma'akiv de'erev chatzeres. Says the Gemara, Amar Yehuda, Brave of Shmuel, again, we're on Pei Hey Amid Beis by the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Brave of Shmuel, Bar Shilas, Kol Makom She'amru Chachamim, put the word Chachamim in there. Hadar Sham Eino Eiser, anyone who lives there won't aser because it's not considered a dira. Hanosin es erivo, or hanosin es eruvoi, if someone would go ahead and put his eruv in there, ain't no eruv. In other words, again, how does eruv chatzeres work, guys? What's the mechanics? By putting it in one person's house, it's like we all live in that house. So it's one house, one chutzner. One house, one chutzner. There's no isser. It's not similar to, you're not going from one rishus to another rishus, which is the reason your geyser in the first place. You may come to go from rishus hayachid to rishus harabim. It's one rishus. That's accomplished by all us living in one house. Good. So once it's not a house, you don't gain anything by going ahead and putting the eruv in there. And if a person lives there, he's not going to stop you, because again, it's not considered rishus. Chutz mi beishar diyachid, with the exception of the beishar of the chutzner of a yachid. When our Mishnah said a beishar does not work, it's speaking about the beishar of a rabbin. Here it's beishar of a yachid. That's considered a dira. And any place the Chacham say you cannot leave an eruv, manichim bo shituf. You could go ahead and leave the food for the shituf mavois. There you could. Chutz me avir mavoi, with the exception of the mavoi itself. Avir mavoi does not mean the airspace of the mavoi. It means within the mavoi itself. You cannot leave the shituf mavois. The bnei chatzeros go ahead and be mishtatef partners together in the mavoi. You have to leave it in the chutzner. You can't leave it in a mavoi. Leave it in one of the chatzeros. Just like by erev chatzeros, you leave in one of the houses. By shituf mavois, you live in one of the chatzeros. Right? That's it. Because what are you doing by shituf mavois? Is you're being ma'ariv the shituf of the chatzeros to carry in the mavoi. My kamash Malon says, "What's the chiddush over here? Why does Rabbi Yehuda teach me the name of Shmuel? Bashilas. Tanina, we learned it. It's a Mishnah. It's a Ruvoy Beishar. Achsadra Mepeset and Erev. Erev Hudlay Have. The diakis is not a good Erev. Hashitov Have. But Shitov, it would be good. It would be good for Shita Mavais. It's not a house. You don't need a house. You need a chutzner. It's a chutzner. And says the Gemara, you're right. The chiddush over here in this brisa, that the chiddush of Rabbi Yehuda Breder, Shmuel Shila says that the Beis Shar of a Yochid is considered a dira, and you could leave the Eruvin there. And the Aver of a Mavoy is not considered a Chatzar, and you can't leave it there. It's Deloitte. Tanan. Deloitte Tanan we didn't learn. Tanya Nami Hachi. Hanoisnes Eruvo beBeis Shar Achsadrim and Peset Chatzar Mavoy Harizeh Erev. It's a good Erev. I feg them over Tanain's Erev. How do you reconcile the difference? One says it is an Erev, one says it's not an Erev. Ema Harizeh Shitov. Say it's a shituf. It's not an erev, it's a shituf. When the Brisa said it's an erev, it didn't mean an erev, it means a shituf. Throughout this Masechta, on occasion, we've used the word erev for shitum of voice. Because really it's the same dynamics. You're making one chatzar for the mavoy. That's what you're doing. Says Gemara, b'mavoy loy minter, and the mavoy, you can't leave it in the mavoy. How is that shituf? Shituf b'mavoy loy minter, ema b'chat. So shituf b'mavoy loy minter, how could you leave it in the mavoy? It's not watched. Ema b'chatzah sheba mavoi. Read it as the chatzah of the mavoi, where it will be watched. Amar Rav Yudah Mishmuel. B'nei chabura shoyim mesubim. They were sitting together. The chabura of they had like a little black party. All the people in Chatzeros were eating together, and the kiddush of Ayoyim, and it was becoming Mahat Shabbos, and they hadn't made an erev Chatzeros yet. Pashal shulchan, the food that's on the table, somchem alei mishum erev. You can use it for your erev Chatzeros. The Imri law others say Mishum Shituf, you can use it for your Shitum of voice. Amar Rabba of Lei Pligi, they're not disagreeing. They're speaking about two scenarios. Kan be Musubim Mebayis. When is it good for Erev Chatzeros? When they're Musubim Mebayis, because you have to be out of the house. Kan be Musubim Mechatzer. And when's it good for Shitum of voice? When you're sitting in the Chatzer, and therefore because it's Ma'ar of the Chatzeros. Amali Abayil Rabba. Tanya Misailach, I'll bring a proof to you. Erev Chatzeros B'Chatzer. Erev Chatzeros is the Chatzer b'Shituv Mevois b'Mavoi. V'Abinam, but 1 second. Erev Chatzeros b'Chatzer? 1 second. I just told you it's got to be a house. How can you tell me it's a Chatzer? It's got to be a house. But Tanana, no says Eruva b'Beis Shar Achsadrim and Pesed Eina Erev. That's not worse than a Chatzer. So, and for the Gemara, Ema Eruv Chatzeros. Add one word, guys. Eruv Chatzeros. Oh, that's a horse of a different color, right? In the house of the chutzner, not the chutzner itself, the house of the chutzner. Shituv mavois is not in the mavoi. Where is it? B'chutzner sheba mavoi. That's where it has to be. It has to be in the chutzner, not in the mavoi itself. That's where it can't be. Rav Yudah Aimer Mesham Tfisas Yad. You said if the balabas left over a rental over in the rental, he's considered the owner still, and if the person's not, he's considered an ereach, and if he failed to go ahead and come together, when the erev, he's not going to go ahead and asa. That's what the Mishnah said. Says the Gemara, Hechi dami tfisas yad. What's an example of tfisas yad? Meaning literally holding on to the hand, for all intents and purposes, still being considered the balabas. Kigoin chatzerei shel Bunis ben Bunis. Bunis ben Bunis, right? Now, Bunis ben Bunis, he was a rich guy. Rashi says, Asher who, bottom line, Asher have, Umashil bottom shebechatzel acherim, he would lend chatzer bottom to house to others, v'hoyeloi kelim bekulan, and he had kelim in all of them, shemitoich oishroi hoyeloi kelim harbe. He was very wealthy, and as a result, he had a lot of kelim. Good. So now, also came the Rabbi. Bunis ben Bunis came in front of Rabbi. Amalahu, Rabbi said, "Panu makom leben meya mana." Clear the way for what? For this person who's the son of one who has 100 mana. In other words, give him a makom chashuv because he's rich. Also in the Shachrina came along another person who appeared richer than Bunis ben Bunis. Amalei, Rabbi said, "Panu makom leben masaya mana." Rabbi was looking at. We would look at cars, like when the guy drives up in the car and you kind of analyze where the guy's holding in terms of his car. There's a guy, it's very interesting. I don't know what he does for a living. He must be like a car dealer. Who's that guy by, you know what I'm talking about? By Rabbi Rotkin in the morning by the Minyan. On any given day, you can see the most exotic cars. I mean, I went to Benji, I was talking to Benji, And a fellow said to us, he goes, "Is that you blocking the driveway?" There was a Rolls Royce SUV. I kid you not, a Rolls Royce SUV. So now this guy drives up, and you say, "Man, this guy's got bucks, right?" Guy drives up in a Buick Sentra, pass the pushka around, can't get rid of that car. But I'm saying it's amazing. So they were wearing this clothing, and based upon this clothing, he thought that, wow, this guy cleared the way for the guy who was worth 200 mana, a large sum of money. So I'm the fun of Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi said, Rabbi, Aviv Shel Zeh, Ben Bunis. It's Bunin Ben Bunis. Ben Bunis, Yesh Lei Elef Svinois. He's got 1,000 ships. Biyam. Ukeneg Lei Elef V'Yorois B'Yabasha. Keneg 1,000 ships. He's got 1,000 cities. So this guy, in other words, he's a much bigger gevir than the second guy. But Rabbi was reading his clothing. So I'm Maloi, L'chashetegia Eitzel Aviv. When you get to your father, Emaloi, Al Tishagreu B'Kelim Alolu L'Fanai. Did not send you in front of me with these kalim. In other words, dress a little better. Get out of the LG. What was that? Heshi, where's that place you used to shop? L on the east side. Where's that
LBC,
LBC, right?
It's the Bender.
Oh, you went there?
Who didn't know that place? I knew it before he was on Revington Street.
Me too. A
Revington.
Givenchy. You get a Givenchy there. A Givenchy.
The only time we went to the east side was to Bernstein's. That was the only reason. Oh, and Ratness. 2 reasons.
And Kedem. You didn't buy wine, Rabbi?
Nah, there was no wine in those days. What, Malaga and Concord?
I used to go down and get wine.
To go to our apartment.
So anyway, L'chaira.
H&M, the Judaica store. There was the good Judaica store. H&M out there?
No, you know who was there? I'll tell you, it was the Sfarm store. Bagel Eisen was there.
Bagel Eisen was there on the corner.
You had a good Sfarm.
LBC, you got the suit that the dummy wore in Barney's.
What?
At LBC, you got the suit that the dummy in the front window wore in Barney's.
Anyway.
We went down for the farm, Les.
What?
Kenny and I went down for the farm.
Yeah, you and Kenny went to the Sfarm, right?
Gus's Pickles, Economy Candy, Gert's Bakery.
Gertel.
Gertel, come on, Amaratzis.
Okay. Rav Moshe Feinstein. Moshe Feinstein was the east side. Okay, anyway.
He was our neighbor, Bachavrusa.
Okay, anyway. He said, so he said, the next time you come to me, wear nicer clothing. Listen to the fascinating Gemara with a more fascinating Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Rabbi Mechaber Ashirim. Rabbi was accustomed to giving kavod to wealthy people. Rabbi Akiva Mechaber Ashirim, as was Rabbi Akiva. Kididarish Rava Bar Mari. The pasuk says, Yeshiv Oilam Lefnei Elokim. May the Melech let him go ahead and sit before Hashem. Chesed emes mon yinsaruhu. But Hashem appoints chesed emes that they may preserve him. So the mon yinsaruhu. Now, what's the play on words? When is the word be yishuv? When is the world in a state of tranquility and Kadosh Baruch Hu is happy with it? This man chesed v'emes mon yinsura. That's when it's chesed v'emes. So the chayra. Rebbe gave kavod to the Ashirim because of the chesed ve'emes that they did. In other words, the Ashirim did tremendous chesed. And as a result of the chesed they did, Rebbe gave kavod. That's Pashat Pshat. Guys, look at the Gilyon Hashas. I don't know, it's Gilyon Hashas. It's very small letters. I have it on the bottom because I have an old Gemara. You may have it on the side. But it's Rabbi Akiva Eiger. It's called the Gilyon Hashas. Rebbe Mechaber Ashirim. Bilikutei Maharil, Sheshama mimarim segel, yesh leimar, mitay sherebi atzmai hayashem mufli. Guys, Rebbe was unbelievably wealthy. The Gemara says that Rebbe took all his money he spent on gathering all the Tanoim to get the Torah Shel Bapeh as clear as possible to make sure it was perfect, right? He used all his money for that. And at the end of his life, he picked up his hands, the Gemara in the Ksubis, and he said, Golav you do it for Necha. I never had enough in this world. I feel a be'etzba katana. Rebbe was unbelievably wealthy person. Unbelievable. Hashem muflig, the Lashon. Muflig. Oisig Amenelech wealthy. Lekach hirgil atzmoy lechabed ashirim. Therefore, Rebbe was accustomed to make himself be mechaber ashirim, kidei lehislamed la'am sheyichabduhu gam kein oisoi yishvil oishroi. So just like Rebbe was mechaber people for money, he was teaching all of the people in Klal Yisrael, be mechaber me for my wealth, for loy b'shvil toirasoi, but not because of his Torah. Shaloi ratzel ishtamish b'kisra shel Torah litel atar l'skadol ba'ad kan l'shoinai. In other words, it was Rebbe fooled them. Rebbe didn't want to go ahead and get covered for his Torah, guys. So what did he do? He went ahead and gave tremendous cover to Ashirim. So people would give cover for Rebbe for his wealth, not for his Torah. It's like the fellow from Dirshu, Rav Hafstadter, is an unbelievable Talmid Chacham. He happens to be very wealthy, right? He happens to be very wealthy. So people, they yesh v'yesh. Some people say, "Wow, look what he's done," and he has Svarim out, Darshei David, I think they're called, and other people say, "Look what he does with his money," right? They focus on that aspect. So Rebbe gave covet in order that people would mechaber him for his wealth rather than his Torah, because he didn't want to get covered for his Torah. He didn't want to use his Torah. Unbelievable Maril. Beautiful Maril.
Then we had I think the Gemara in Brachos that said that we should be mechaber ashirim because HaKadosh Baruch Hu trusted the person with the
Right. We said that. Again, by giving cover to Ashirim, you're giving cover to the Rebbeinu Shalom who gave him lekach. That is definitely true. But again, it's only mashma from this Gemara if they do chesed. From this Gemara is mashma if they use their wealth for chesed. It's mashma, not stam that he gave him money. Hashem will give people money to do chesed. Again, he entrusts people for the right reasons, or to buy the New York Mets. You know, they're very good things that people could do with their money, right? So those are very important things, correct? Okay, weiter. I just want to make Benji happy. We have a new favorite kohen. Yeah. Okay. Says, let's finish the Gemara. Next Gemara. Rabba bar Rav Chana Amar Kegon Yosef Shel Machresha. You want to know what kind of kli that they're going to keep by the renti that will be keep the balabos as the having toifus yad, having shlita, having rulership, ownership in the chutzner is like the Yosef Shel Machresha. We saw in Masechta Shabbos, fellas. That's the klisha malachte leisser. We remember. I'll bring you back in time. Remember, we said that they came and they found Nehemiah bar Chamiloi. He found that they were carrying on Shabbos, and he went ahead and was goyza muktzah. Everything was muktzah, everything. And slowly he brought it back. And the only thing he remained was the lumberjack saw and the coulter of a plow. So coulter of a plow is mamish shtik muktzah machmas chesorin kiss. No, and they never matted it. It's mamish. So now it's geschmack. So he says, so it's got to be something that you know he's not going to touch on Shabbos. So then you guarantee that he still has tfisas yad in the chutzner, right? Because he's never gonna move this. He's not allowed to move it. Amar Rav Nachman Tana Rabbi Shmuel Dava Nitel Shabbos Oisa. If it's something you can carry on Shabbos, if that's the Svara guys, so if it's something that can carry on Shabbos, he doesn't have tfisas yad. What's the guarantee he's going to keep it there? So definitely it's not the balabas. Dava Sheina Nitel b'Shabbos, like the Yosef Shel Machresha, Eino Oisa. Then he won't asa because then he's the balabas. Tanya Namiyachi Yesh Le Tevel. If he has by him tevel, fruit, vegetables that you haven't, you didn't separate the Trumas and Maisa, it's also to separate on Shabbos. So that would be a tfisas yad that he still has ownership over there because you know it's going to be there over Shabbos. Okay, so that's the. If he has a shishas is a lantern or a piece of metal, a shishas could be metal rashas, but shal basel chatichas gedolos. We also had a shishas as a lantern in the Masechta Shabbos as well. Okay, anyway, b'chol hapachas we have pshan in the Mishnah. Very, very geshmak. A little different than last night, guys. Right? Says the Mishnah. Hamaniach beislei v'holach lishvais be'ir acheres. He goes ahead and he leaves his house. He forgets to make an Eruv, and he leaves. Echad nachri v'echi Yisrael harizah oisa, div Reb Meir. Reb Meir holds that what? That the dira of a guy is shma dira, and therefore what? It's going to aser. It's going to aser. Reb Yehuda Aimer eina oiser. It doesn't, because the dira of a guy is not considered a dira. Reb Yossi Aimer, it depends. Nachri oiser, nachri wood, Yisrael eina oiser. Why? Shein derech Yisrael over b'Shabbos. He's not going to come. Rabbi Shimon Aimer says, "Afilu hiniach beisay v'halach l'shvei seitzel bitay b'oisay yer." Even if he's in the city, if he goes to his daughter, eina oiser shekvar yisiyah miliboy. He's going to his daughter for Shabbos. He's meisiyah from the stas, from the chutzner, and you don't have to worry. Amarav halach Reb Shimon, the halach of Shimon. Even he goes away for Shabbos. Let's say you have an erev chatzeres. The guy goes away for Shabbos. You would be able to carry in the chutzner because he's not coming back. He's like removed from Shabbos. That's dafka bitoy. Dafka goes to his daughter, so he's by his daughter and his son-in-law. Avol beno, if he goes to his son, loy. In other words, could be if he goes to his son in the same city, he might be coming home. Why? The Amiyenshi people say, Novach bach kalba, if the dog barks at you, oil, you can go in the house. Novach bach gerisa, if the female dog barks at you, poik, get out. So if he goes to his daughter and it's the son-in-law that's going to give him service, don't worry, you can go in. If he goes to his son, then his daughter-in-law barks, the female dog, he's coming home. Okay, so therefore, that's a saying that they had in the old days. Barking in, okay. Says the Mishnah. Okay, let's get our opening picture. It's been a long time without a picture. Let's get up there a little bit. There we go. Oh, that was we didn't need that. That was a bar. Here you go. Here's our bar. Here's a chatzah, here's water. They didn't make an Eruv, guys. Right? They can't use the water because maybe I'm using your water. So Rabbi Yehuda says, you go ahead, you put a mechitza over here, it's going to work. It's going to work. Now, exactly what's in this pit, we're going to see the Torah in the pit and everything that goes on, okay? Says the Mishnah, bar shebein shnei chatzeiros, a bar that's in between two chatzeiros, ein mimalim mimena b'Shabbos. You can't go ahead and fill water from Shabbos if you didn't make an Erev. Why? Because you're going to go ahead and be taking water from your friends' rishus. Elam kain asle mechitza gavoya asar tfachim. If you make a mechitza that's 10 tfachim high, then it'll be just like it's mafsik in the chatzar, it'll be mafsik in the bar, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Now, where are you putting this? Where are you putting it? You make it 10 tfachim, okay? So this is the subject of a big machlokes, okay? And we're going to see. Let's first before we see that, let me see you. And here's the beimil mata. We'll see what that means. Beimil teich oignoi, whether it's below or it's in the lip of the bar. Rabbi Shimon Leilon there. It's a machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai oimrim mil mata, and Beis Hillel oimrim mil maila. And we're going to have machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda, the Amor Rav Yehuda, in what the machlokas Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel were, and that's the little picture that I flashed by you. Amor Rav Yehuda, loitei mechitza gedolim and akaisel shebeinehen. So Rav Yehuda is the picture that we saw, is just like the mechitza would go ahead and be mavdil, so too, you don't need a physical presence of the mechitza in the bar in any which way. It's enough across the top. You don't need any physical presence in order to go ahead and create a mechitza. That's the chiddush, the kula of Rabbi Yehuda. That's the kula of Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, now. Wow. What happened? I guess that was the biggest it went. We're going to have machlokes between Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda in Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, okay? Let's see. Look at the pictures. Here, it's in the airspace of the pit. This is Lamaila according to Rav Huna. This is Lamata according to Rav Huna. According to Rav Huna, fellas, it doesn't have to be in the water. Good. Says the Gemara. Amr Rav Huna. Lemata mamish. When it says lemata, it means when the Beis Shammai said lemata, it means lemata. Here it means, guys, look, it means this. It's this lemata mamish. Lemaila is lemaila mamish, and lemaila means lemaila mamish. So look, this aleph on the chart, this is lemata, and this is lemaila. So this is the machlokes. The zev is bar, and they're both in the pit. Lemaila doesn't mean above the pit. Lemata doesn't mean in the water. It means up until lemata, up until the water, and lemaila means above the water, but in the pit. That's Rav Huna. Rav Yehuda Amar, lemata is lemata min amayim. Guys, take a look. Gimel, here you are. Lemata is lemata, mamish in the water. Lemaila min amayim. Lemaila means, okay, in other words, the lemata of Rav Huna and the lemaila of Rav Yehuda are the same. Guys, take a look at the picture. You see you have an aleph and a dalet over here? This is the lemata of Rav Huna, but it's the lemaila of Rav Yehuda. Because Rav Yehuda's lemata, guys, is gimel. So if this is his lemata, his below, this is his above. Got it, babe? Guys, you guys good? Yes, it's nice, right? The picture's good. Amalei Rabba Rav Chana Abaya. Hadar Rav Yehuda lemata. When he says lemata, means lemata min amayim. Maishna lemata mamish. Why over here by Gimel Deloy the Arivi Maya? So lemata min amayim. So again, we're asking Rabbi Yehuda. He says lemata means over here. Guys, over here, look at picture Gimel. Is the water still mixing together? Here it is, right? The water's mixing together. Good. Maishna lemata mamish deloy the Arivi Maya. Lemata min amayim nami ha Arivi Maya. Lemata min amayim. What? It's lemata mamish. Oh, guys, means look, watch here. I'm sorry. Here's lemata. Just like over here, the water's mixing. Over here, the water's mixing. This is lemata mamish. Lemata. Here, water's mixing. Here, water's also mixing. Guys, you with me? Are you looking at the picture? Am I getting mixed up? Steve, are you mixed up?
It says by Bays. It says by Aleph lamata.
Watch.
Lamata.
Okay, let's do it outside first. Let's do it outside first. We have two words. We have lemata and lemaila. Good. We have a machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda as to what those words mean. According to Rav Huna, nothing's going to touch the water. Lemaila means in the pit above the water. Lemata means in the pit up until the water. That's Rav Huna. Rav Yehuda takes it very literally. Lemata means in the water. Lemata means in the water. You're in the water. Mamish in the water. And lemaila means above the water. So the lemaila of Rav Yehuda above the water is the lemata of Rav Huna is also above the water. Guys, it's right in front of you. Take a look. Picture this picture over here. This is the lemaila of this guy, but it's the lemata of this guy. From here to here, this is below, right? From here to here, it's above. Got it? Interesting, right? So there you go. So now the Gemara asks the following. Let's see it inside. Amalei Rabba Rav Chana Abaya. Hoda Amar Rav Yehuda lemata means lemata min amayim, right? It means lemata means lemata min amayim. Maishna lemata mamish. Why this case, guys? Over here, the loy, he doesn't hold lemata means this is because the water mixes. Good. Even over here, when it's in the water, it still mixes above it. So what you gain? What did Rabbi Yehuda gain by sticking it in? If you're telling me that what there's going to be a mixing of waters of two chatzeros, you got a problem. What did he gain by doing this? And for the Gemara, Amalei leishmi lecha ha the Amar Rabbi Yehuda Did you not hear Rabbi Yehuda said, Amarav, Umataba B'Shum Rab Chia, and it came to us in the name of Rab Chia, Sarach Sheyiru Roisha Shalkanim. You got to see the top. Hey, guys, look at hey. Look, hey, it's not Gimel that it's in the water. It's hey, and you got to see it a little bit out of the water. And in this scenario, what? The water is not mixing. The hey, you have a total barrier. You got it? Did we get that? Guys, we got that? Good. Okay, now back to the picture. When I have the picture, I can't see you. That's the problem. Okay, again. So now, back in here. Minamayim tefach. V'su hodam Rabbi Yehuda. L'mayla minamayim. Rabbi Yehuda says, guys, this is l'mayla minamayim, right? Good. Maishna l'mayla mamish. This over here. Deloi. The Arive Maya. L'mayla minamayim nami ha'arive Maya. What did Rabbi Yehuda gain, guys, from picture Aleph to picture Beis? If this is, if the water is not mixing over here, and the water is not mixing over here, what are you gaining? On that, the Gemara answers, Yaakov Karchina, Sarashi Shaka Roish Konim b'Mayim Tefach. Here you go. You have to put, guys, Vav. You have to put it in the water at Tefach. So it's not Pshat, it's up until the water. You're putting it in the Tefach. Once you're going to put it in, we're going to view it as a virtual mechitza, right? And therefore, it's considered not mixing. Good. So right now, so again, Rav Huna, nothing's touching the water. Rav Yehuda, Lamata Gloipe Shammai, you got a full mechitza. That's and everything else is above. You don't have a full. It's according to Rav Huna, it's all virtual mechitzas, guys, because nothing is touching the water. Lamata means above the water in the airspace of the pit, and Lamata means up until the water, but not in the water. So obviously, you're coming on to like a good akas type of situation, right? You're coming up to some type of virtual wall.
Is that good option when it doesn't touch the water?
Yeah, we're going to say something like that. We're gonna have to come on some virtual mechitza, right?
Laser, if it goes all the way to the bottom and it sticks up, do you even need an Eruv anything? Why would you need an Eruv? It's clear that one's one.
This is when you don't have an Eruv. If you had an Eruv, you wouldn't need this.
Okay.
Steve, if you had an Eruv, the reason why you need this is because you don't have an Eruv, so I need to separate. Because I'm asa. If you had an Eruv, it's all one rishus. You're good. Okay, so now, says the Gemara. The Elahadam Rav Yehuda, Kaira. Let's get another picture over here. You have a churva over here. You have a kaira, a beam that's 4 tefachim wide, and we're gonna say, does this close it off? Do we say pi tikra yared b'saisim? Does the pi tikra, the edge of the tikra, come down and close it off? And can you then carry underneath the fort this area? What are you getting? Notice if this is closed now, the area Rashi says, in order to say pi tikra, fellas, you need a makam chashav. Again, throughout this Masechta, we have concepts. Dalid tfachim is a makam chashav. For pi tikra, to have a mechitza, it's got to be chaytzetz for a makam chashav. So what we have over here is the width of the beam. Here's the width, right? And therefore, if you say pi tikra, then underneath the beam you'll be able to use. But it's got to have a certain width to give it its chashivas, or else we wouldn't say pi tikra. In other words, if it's, let's say it's this way, guys, look, let's say it's this way, it's a thin thing. You're not going to say, you can't say pi tikra over here like this, because it's not matering anything. You'll say pi tikra over here because the space between this is what is for tefachim, it's a makam chashiv. So that's, now, don't review the kaira arba, now change that to arba. Shimon Gans, change it to arba, because it's what it is, tefachim. Arba would be amis, right? Guys, remember I taught you that? The female, male. Come on. Arba is What?
It's like Shalosh Shloisha by the Tfachim.
Thank you. It's exactly. So Arba is Tfachim and Arba is Amis. What does it say over here?
It says Abba, but it should be Abba.
It doesn't. No, it says Arba. And Arba would be Amis, correct?
Right.
So you have to change it to Arba'a. Take a look at Taisvis, guys. Look at the Dibra Maslin Taisvis. Koira Arba'a. He changes it. I'm telling you, because you have to. Anyway, it's this thing I'm stuck on that I have to get right. You know, like everyone's got their. I'll get my therapist on it. Now, Koira Arba Materes Bechurva. It's going to matter underneath. For Rav Nachman Amar Rabbi Avua Midbeis. Koira Arba'a Materes B'mayim. A koira of Arba'a, if you have a beam of Arba'a of 4 tfachim, if you have a beam of 4 tfachim, it's going to matter in water. You have a beam of 4 tfachim, it's going to matter in water. We have little, here it is, same thing, right? You got a beam, it's going to matter in water. Now, what does that mean? It means underneath the beam, just like by the churva, you can carry underneath the beam, the width of the beam. Here too, it means you can carry underneath the width of the beam, right? You'll be able to use the water underneath the beam. Yes? Guys, using P Tikra, be able to close off and use the water. What's our problem? Take a look at these pictures. These are good pictures. Aren't we scared that the water over here, the bucket you put over here, this is the water you could use, but the bucket's going to go over here? Fred the Gemara. The deli, the bucket's going to go to the other side. Umaisi, and you're going to bring it. And for the Gemara, Kim Leila Rabbanon, the Ein Deli Mahalach Yesem Hey Arbot Tfachim. It doesn't go more than 4 tfachim. In other words, it's never going to go out of bounds. The deli is never going to flow out of bounds. They knew that. Says the Gemara, Pachas Akoira Mia Ha'arve Mayim. Guys, so 1 second. But any water that's over here is a mixture of all the water. So why should you be able to use it? Bishlema, you'll say Pete Tikra by Yabasha, by dry land. So therefore, I've gone ahead, I sealed off the dry land. But over here, you're sealing it off, but Mimela, it can't make the water not come in there, right?
Can't you say Brera by this case?
Well, no, you know, where's the Brera? Huvra David that it's yours?
That is my water.
Why would it be a Brera Shaila? Why would it be it's not clarification of, the water is mixing. There's no Shaila about it. It's not like I've chosen at a later time. It's not like I'm showing now that I want this water to be my water retroactively. It's the water is together there. Brera will be a Shaila of, I want to go in that direction. I'll decide tomorrow. So I want this water, Benji. I want this water. It's not, if you take it out, it's proof that it was your water in the first place, or else why do you need this at all? Now, in fact, you don't have to come on to Brera, because why does this work? Guys, you know this. You know why it works? It works because there's something called the Kula of Mayim. Mechitza Taluya. Remember this? Remember the guy sticking out the window, the bucket out the window? Right? So it says the Gemara, Elimishum, the Kalu Shekila Chacham Mayim. It's a Kula that the Chachamim began with water. Guys, this is the Kula we've been discussing. Where's that picture? One more page. There you go. By now, you know this page, right? This is a tremendous kula. What are we going to say? This is a Carmelis. How can you take water from a Carmelis into a Bishul Sayachid? Ella, we're going to say good achis, right? We're going to put this down. Why do we say this? I wouldn't say it by a churva. Kula shekilu b'chachamim b'mayim. It's a kula that the chachamim will make by mayim, and that's why it works. It's a kula. So here also, it's a kula that they will make by mayim, and that's why it works. Kideboy minei Rav Tavla me Rav Mechitza tzluya maushet hata b'churva A mechitza taluya, can it go ahead and be mata b'churva? Amalei ein mechitza taluya materes ella b'mayim. It only is materes b'mayim, is kula she'ikilu b'chachamim b'mayim. Kishmak, kishmak. Now, Rav Yehuda said you don't need any chachma. Said Rav Yehuda, you know what? This is going to work. Says Rav Yehuda, guys, this is going to work. This is going to work. Nothing in. Just like this is mafsik on top between the two chatzeros, so too it's going to be mafsik in the water. So Benji, you don't have to come on to Breira. We'll view it as what? As virtually being separate. Right? We're virtually being separate. Good? That's what we're going to do. We're going to view it virtually being separate. Okay? That's what the Gemara says. Now, Amar Rabbi Rav Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yehuda v'shitas Rabbi Yosi, Amra. Now, Rabbi Yehuda, guys, obviously is holding mechitza taluya shmei mechitza. That mechitza on top of the water was a good mechitza, correct? Now, this you may remember from sukkah. Here you go. You made a sukkah. You're weaving the sukkah from the bottom. You're going up, up, up. You get to 10 tfachim. It doesn't reach the schach. Is this a kasher sukkah, guys?
Yes.
It's a kasher sukkah. Why? Because you have mechitzas. Is this a kasher sukkah? You start from the top. You got 10. Is it a kasher sukkah?
No,
you're not within 3.
Gediim biking by.
Gediim biking by. It's not good. Correct? Gediim. You got a gedi that's biking by. It's not good. If it would be 3, we'd say lovud and it would be good. Rabbi Yosi says this is a good sukkah. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda say the same thing. Just like by Rabbi Yehuda says by the water. The beam across the water is considered what? Taluya, and it comes down and separates the water. He holds like Rabbi Yosi that a wall over here goes down and separates the and is considered a mechitza. Amar Rabbi Rav Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yehuda b'shitas Rabbi Yosi Amar Dama mechitza taluya materes afilu biyabasha did nan a mishnah in Masechta Sukkah hamashal shashal defones mamayla lamata. Person's going ahead and he's lowering a doifen from top to the bottom. There's much to go by minarets kamut fachim psula. When it's higher than 3, it's puzzle. Mimata lamaila, if he's going from above to above, im gavoy yitfachim kshera. Rabbi Yosi Yomer, kishem mishel melamata lamaila asara, kach melamata lamata asara. So too over here, asara would work as long as it's asara. So therefore, the Rabbi Yehuda who holds by water would hold like over here by what? By sukkah. It's not a good sushtel. Loi Rabbi Yehuda savala Rabbi Yosi. Loi Rabbi Yosi savala Rabbi Yehuda. Not Rabbi Yosi. Yehuda by water holds like Rabbi Yosi by sukkah and vice versa. Rabbi Yehuda loi savala Rabbi Yosi. Ad kan like Rabbi Yehuda by water. By water. Ella beiruvi chatzeros. The Rabbanon. Aval sukkah deraisa loi. Guys, you're gonna tell me this is a kasha sukkah? It's not within 3 tefachim. It's taluya. It's hanging above. You need a basukkah's teishrei shivas yamim. You need a sukkah. What's the reason you can't use the water? If you take from this rishus, you may come to another rishus. That's the Rabbanon. By the Rabbanon, I will matter a wall that is hanging. In that case, a beam across. Over here, I won't. So you're not locked into saying that Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rabbi Yosi. Ken Zaini doesn't. And conversely, Rabbi Yosi, V'lei Rabbi Yosi sub like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosi who holds over here would work. He would say by water, it doesn't. Ad kan lekom Rabbi Yosi ela b'sukkah. The Isra Asehu. It's only an Aseh. It's an Aseh. Mvatla Aseh. Mkayim Aseh. Avol Shabbos, the Isra Skilahu. Even though it's the Rabbanon, Kol the Tikkun Rabbanon, says Rashi, Kain Deraisa Tikkun. And we know by Shabbos, anything you're Mvatla Shabbos with, guys, is considered what? It's considered an Isra Skila. So sits in the realm of Eruvin. They're Metakin, Kol the Rabbanon, Kain Deraisa Tikkun. Just like in the Raisa Shabbos, someone help a mechitza taluya, who adin in Eruvin, it would not help. So therefore, you're not locked into saying that either one holds like the other. Ken Zayin, they don't hold like each other. Rabbi Yehuda would hold it by Eruvin, because it's the Rabbanon. Rabbi Yosi would hold it only by Sukkah, because it's an Aseh. V'im Toimim, what are you going to say? Maisa Shenase B'tzivuri. There was a Maisa, an incident that took place in Tzipuri, which we'll see in a second. Al pi minase, le al pi Rabbi Yosi, al pi Rabbi Yosi. No, it wasn't al pi Rabbi Yosi. In other words, you tell me Rabbi Yosi says by Sukkah by it's an Aseh, but by Shabbos not. The Ma'aser in Sipurei took place on Shabbos, guys, and it was a shaila of a Sukkah Tuluya. So, fellas, take a look at this picture. They needed a Torah in the basic Knesset. They forgot the Torah was in this house. There was no Eruv. How do you get it from here to here? So you take a sheet, you spread it, it's taluya from the ground, and you can carry. If you're telling me that Rabbi Yossi holds by Issa Shabbos, he doesn't say it, so who? Sipuri was the town of Rabbi Yossi, so who matted this? So Fred the Gemara Kasha, Vim Toyman, if you ask a question, the incident that transpired in Sipure, where they carried the Torah literally from one place in the Chatzah to another. So who was it? If it wasn't Rabbi Yossi, and you're telling me Rabbi Yossi is by Shabbos, you don't hold that way. Says the Gemara, and for the Gemara, lo al pi Rabbi Yossi, el al pi Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. It was Taka Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. Now, this very, very important, guys. Rabbi Yossi, the Gemara tells us Nimukoi Imoi. We had the Gemara earlier in the Masechta. Rabbi Yossi, his svaras are with him. So if Rabbi Yossi says something, we're going to paskin like him. So therefore, it's important to know who said this halacha in Sipuri. And we're saying it wasn't Rabbi Yossi, but it was his son, Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. What was the incident? The Chiyasar of Dimi Amar Pamachas Shakhu v'le'aviu Sefer Torah. They didn't bring the Torah to shul. While it was still Friday. Lamacha parsu sadin ala amudim. They spread sheets on pillars. And now, guys, look what this did. This made it one rishus, because there was no other bias opening over here. Rashi explains, why would this help? Because now it's only one rishus. Since you have mechitza here, it's only one rishus. They brought a Sefer Torah and they read from it. Fred the Gemara, Piersu l'chatchila mishari, is it permitted to go ahead and spread a spread l'chatchila to make a wall? You're not allowed to make an oil aroy on Shabbos. Ela matzah, what happens? Matzah sadin and prusim. They found it before on Shabbos that it had been spread before Shabbos. Ala amudim. They view Sefer Torah v'karu by, and they brought the Sefer Torah out and they read from it. But this was Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi who said mechitza tluya would help, and not Rabbi Yossi, because like Rabbi Yossi, mechitza tluya would only help by an asay like sukkah. It would not help by an eruv dika problem, which has a tzad Shabbos, which is a skila problem. I bid you all good night. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have something to be happy about besides learning Torah together.
Okay. Have a good night.